gray, and Tamaguna is very dark, and Rajaguna is gray, and Sattva-guna is almost pure white. And this is sort of like, and then the material plane is like a canvas. And everything that's happening on the material plane is made of those three colors, or those three tones of paint. And the thing that makes all of that paint, the thing that makes them all similar is that they're all related. Now we have to start over. I'm just kidding. It's that all of those three paints, instead of being like oil-based or water-based, they're ego-based. Okay? So Tamaguna, Rajaguna, Sattva-guna, the base that those paints are made of are the idea of I, me, and mine, the ego. And but as we move upward through that spectrum toward the light, toward Sattva-guna, it becomes less ego-affirming. It becomes, it's still I'm the doer, I'm the one that's doing the love, I'm the one that's feeling the gratitude, or I'm the one that's trying to be a channel, I'm the one that's trying to be inspired, I'm the one that's trying to be free of the ego. But we still have that, that's why we're here. And so we have these three shades in the spectrum of awareness. And we live in a world where, well, okay, so before we go into the world, still thinking about ourselves. So it's like we're on this canvas, we're on this painting with these three colors. And the thing about that painting is that, especially to the human mind, it's still physical. How do you decide I want to get off that painting? And so think of the painting the way Yogananda described it, as a movie screen. And so these three qualities are like projections of different shades of consciousness on the screen of duality, or let's just say the screen of the material plane. And the thing that's bad about that analogy is that, or at least the way my mind works, I could be wrong, but I think of light kind of like moving, like photons, like moving through the theater and hitting that screen. But the spiritual path is about coming back toward the projector where we started. And it's about, ultimately it's about leaving those three gunas and just letting God be the doer and being completely free of ego identification with anything that we do, anything that we feel, anything that we're going through. And so that's the spiritual path. Wherever we are, the goal is to get back into the light. It's to get away from the separateness, away from the humanity. But the weird thing is that it's in humanity that we find all the tools that we need. It's in compassion. It's in kindness. It's in acceptance and forgiveness that we move through that spectrum towards Sattva-guna. But that's the backdrop. And then here we are in life, and we're talking about spiritual tests or tests of any kind. How do we know which way to go in a spiritual test? How do we know when we're being tested? If from wherever we're standing, we're affirming separateness, we're in it. If from wherever we're standing, the choice that we decide to make affirms separateness, we're in it. We're in a spiritual test. I don't think it's a spiritual test when someone asks you, what is meditation? Or what is a guru? And you have the answer. Spiritual test is when, and I don't even think it's a spiritual test necessarily when you're walking down the hill and you feel like a clown and everybody's staring at you and you want to do the right thing, because you might want to do the right thing for the wrong reasons spiritually. I think the spiritual tests come for people that are at the level of you guys, maybe, or us. Maybe it's more like, we don't believe that we have what it takes to transcend the material plane. We don't feel worthy of really going deep in meditation. we're kind people. We're not out there stealing and clubbing people over the head. We're not laying on the couch all day completely stoned and can't make it to work. That's not where we are. The test for spiritual people has become more subtle. It's become more fine, and it takes a lot of awareness. It takes a lot of awareness and a lot of concentration and a lot of willingness to be able to look at ourselves at any moment and say, how is this affecting me spiritually? Is this refining? Is it elevating to my consciousness? Or is it somehow pulling me down? Because the intellect will tell you that it makes every bit of sense that we shouldn't be singing a song that we don't know. It makes every bit of sense that we feel uninvited to someone else's party in a way when they all wanted us to be there. When we came, they really embraced us with open arms. They're all whispering to us like, do you know this part? You don't? Okay, this is how it is. And everyone's trying to help us. That's how you become part of a community. But what if you tried that in LA? What if you tried that not always, but sometimes, if you tried it like with the wrong team or the wrong singers or in the wrong situation, maybe even the wrong church, and you just jumped up and you tried to be part of that choir, it might have been a different situation. It might have been less supportive, maybe. But all that matters is I think, is what, it doesn't matter to you what their response is, or to us. What it matters, what makes the difference for us is, are we affirming ego? Are we affirming desire? Or are we moving closer to God? And I think sometimes the best thing to happen is to go out, try to join the wrong team, have everybody look at you like you're an outsider, and there's your test. Are you going to blame them for what you feel? That's the test. Are we going to give the world responsibility for what we're going through? Are we going to give other people the responsibility and the control for our own experience? I think that's a spiritual test that we can talk about. I think that, like I said, it just depends on where we are. But maybe that's where I'm working right now. That's all I can talk from, is my own experience. And so sometimes it's good to be in a situation where you don't get your validation, where you're not recognized, where you're not supported, and where you feel all alone, where you feel misunderstood. If it gives you the inspiration to say, what am I learning from this? Why is this happening to me? What does God want me to feel? What does God want me to do? What does God want me to say right now? I think that's what we're looking for. And sometimes you just can't figure it out mentally. It might really feel unfair, but it's your karma. It might really feel unkind, but it is what it is. But we don't have to label it as unkind and unfair. We can learn to really be open to what life is trying to teach us. And so it's like being on that movie screen. Instead of identifying everybody by their personality, instead of identifying everybody by the way they dress or where they came from or how they speak, to remember that it's all light and it's dancing in the screen of our lives, and it's making these visual impressions on us and other sensory things, but none of it's real. It's just the light. And it's our opportunity to find God in each other. It's our opportunity to find God in ourselves.